Their situation with Derek Carr is tenuous at best. He was looking for a trade just about a month ago.
Saints quarterback Derek Carr is going to be the starter for the team in 2025. His contract was restructured early in March, meaning he'll most likely be on the team. But prior to getting his contract redone, the quarterback was seeking a trade, trying to leave the team and find a new place to play football. We're diving into the Derek Carr seeking a trade news in today's video. Before we continue, I'd appreciate it if you would take 5 seconds to subscribe to my channel. We're trying to hit 10K this year, and 72% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed. So double check, it's free, help us grow this year and hit our goals. And let's talk about Derek Carr. One last thing, I'm going to be gone April 1st to April 10th, so every video that you see in between there is pre-recorded. Right now it is March 29th. You're probably seeing this in the middle of the first week of April. So if I miss any big news and I'm not uploading, or if I say anything that's outdated, well, now you know. Look, we all know what the situation was this offseason with Derek Carr. I'm tired of saying and talking about it, and I'm sure you're tired of hearing about it almost damn near every week, it feels like. His future, though, was uncertain with the Saints after Dennis Allen was fired back in November. A new head coach, which ended up being Kellen Moore, may have wanted to move on from Derek Carr and start off fresh with his own quarterback. Derek Carr had a lot of money due to him, and the Saints, given their cap situation, it was a talking point of interest should they get rid of him, because the Saints were not a team in position to pay him that much money and $40 million. But also, cutting Derek Carr would have meant the team could have made no offseason moves until June, which would have basically meant the team was taking the year off and they are going to be 2-15 or whatever it would have been this year. Basically, the Saints would not have been able to re-sign Chase Young, sign Justin Reed, re-sign Juwan Johnson, which wasn't a great move, but basically they would have made 0 moves to this point. They would have taken it to the draft, and then come June, then they signed a few free agents, and that would have been it. If they would have cut Derek Carr, it would have been a tough financial situation. So yes, it's a tough situation, and it's easy for me and you to talk about it and comment that the Saints should cut Derek Carr, but easier to say it when it's not your money and you're not the head coach who just got his first opportunity and he wants to win games, and Derek Carr is their best option right now for that. In this introductory press conference, Kellen Moore did not commit to Derek Carr being the starter in week 1. He called him a good quarterback, said he's an NFL starting quarterback, but did not commit to him being the week 1 starter, which kind of left the decision up in the air. There was no commitment either way, and he didn't make any comments that would have burnt a bridge that possibly would have been needed. But as we all know, the team ended up restructuring his contract early on in March, meaning he would be on the team in 2025, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I know everyone does not like this dude, but it is not the worst thing in the world. He's not a bad player, but it's the fact that he's getting $40 million, and this team is simply not a team that should be paying him $40 million. The price tag, the relationship, it just isn't working. But when you look at the best options at quarterback for the Saints right now in this offseason, Derek Carr is realistically their best option to win football games. They don't have the number 1 pick. It's not a great QB draft class. If they would have cut Derek Carr, they wouldn't have had any money to sign Sam Darnold or another free agent quarterback until June. And on top of that, we don't know what Spencer Rattler is going to end up being. So we may dislike him, but he does give the team the best opportunity to win games in this upcoming year. They have not won a game without him in the past 2 seasons. Now, granted though, some of the games that they lost without him, they still lose with Derek Carr because of the injuries. Like they might beat the Raiders if Derek Carr is starting instead of Spencer Rattler. They might beat the Commanders if Derek Carr is playing the whole game, but even then, I'm not really too sure. I say all this to say they haven't won a game without him, and while it wasn't the best situation for Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener, still, they haven't won a game without him. Now, after the news came out that Derek Carr was staying, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that Derek Carr was ready to test out free agency and his market and find a new home. Several NFL sources believe Derek Carr was open to testing the market in recent weeks, possibly filling a void with a QB-needy team. Multiple teams in the market were made aware of this, and the Saints showed no outward motivation to trade or cut him. So this right here basically says he was ready to test out the market, but not like, oh, he's wanting to leave. He doesn't want to be on the team. He was open to testing the market in recent weeks. He was open to the possibility of finding a new team. But I believe Derek Carr clearly wanted to leave. and I don't blame him if I was in his position. Derek Carr is 34 years old. His seasons are numbered. There's only so many more years left that he's going to be able to play at a starting NFL caliber level. And does he want to waste those next few seasons on the Saints, a team that is rebuilding, doesn't have a whole bunch of talent, isn't in a great situation to win games and get to the playoffs and win the division, even though they could because the NFC South sucks? Does he want to waste one more year on a team that is essentially retooling and rebuilding in their own way? And on top of that, the city and the fan base isn't a big fan of him, and I don't think he's a big fan of the fans or the city as well. And it makes sense why a mutual departure would have made sense this offseason for both sides, but ultimately we know what happened. Coming into the offseason, it sounded like there was 3 options for the Saints: give him a pay cut, restructure his contract, or cut him. Those seemed like the 3 options. And Derek Carr at the end of the season said he would not take a pay cut because of what he put on film. Now, I got no personal issues with him choosing to not take a pay cut. Would I take a pay cut if I was him? I don't know, probably not. But the reasoning behind it is what pissed off a lot of fans because of what he put on tape, as if he's Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. Saying what he put on tape is why he won't take a pay cut is a tough and a really rough comment. So after Derek Carr said he would not take a pay cut, it appeared the Saints only had 2 decisions left when it came to Derek Carr: cut him or restructure his contract. But as it turns out, that wasn't fully true. Apparently, Derek Carr was open to a trade and was seeking out a trade before the team restructured his contract. Nick Underhill posted a video of him talking about the Saints over the past few weeks, going to a lot of different schools and pro days, talking to a lot of different quarterbacks as they tried to find their next franchise quarterback. And in here, he mentions Derek Carr and some very interesting information.
Quarterback business right now, and they should be. Their situation with Derek Carr is tenuous at best. He was looking for a trade just about a month ago.
Derek Carr was looking for a trade a month ago. Looking for a trade, and that is very, very surprising.
Before they restructured his contract, now he's in for this season.
And it was actually the Saints' decision to restructure his contract and basically keep him on the team this year. It wasn't Derek Carr saying no to being traded. He was open to being traded, but the Saints decided to roll with him as their quarterback and restructure his contract. Derek Carr seeking and looking for a trade is very surprising, considering that he has a no trade clause, meaning the Saints were not able to trade him unless he agreed to it. And, you know, I would have thought that he was not going to be willing to take a trade, because when he was on the Raiders, he didn't help the Raiders trade him. He wanted to test out free agency, and I assume that would have been the case for him now. But apparently that is false. I just would have thought if he didn't do it for the Raiders, why would he do it for the Saints? And I guess that's just because he really does not want to be here. I've heard through reports and some of my own information that Derek Carr was open to helping the team lower his cap number a little bit and help out with the financials only for a trade. And I guess the Saints didn't want to trade him under those circumstances. Maybe the Saints didn't want to trade him because he was their best option at quarterback to win games. I don't really know. But it just felt like if you would have had the opportunity to trade Derek Carr, start from fresh, new head coach, new quarterback, new era football, new complete coaching staff, it would have made sense. I guess the Saints saw it differently. Now, I don't know if this was a Mickey Loomis decision or a Kellen Moore decision, or if this was a financial decision that they were backed into because of how they managed the salary cap, but it just feels like the Saints were conflicted on what to do with Derek Carr until they restructured his contract. It doesn't take you 2.5 months to restructure someone's contract unless you're trying to decide what to do with them. That's what happened to the Saints. The Saints not wanting to trade or move on from Derek Carr, I don't think that is fully true. I think that's what the media is putting out there, but I think the Saints were having real discussions of whether or not they should keep him. Some possible teams that probably would have been interested in trading for Derek Carr include the New York Giants, the Titans, Steelers, Vikings, and the Raiders, who were all probably would have been interested. I'm not too sure what his trade value would have been. There might have been a few other teams interested in trading for Derek Carr, but obviously that didn't happen, and I guess we'll never know. Now, despite keeping Derek Carr and Kellen Moore saying that he will be the starting quarterback in multiple different press conferences and media access, actions speak louder than words. And over the past few weeks, the Saints have been doing an extensive amount of homework on quarterbacks in this upcoming draft class. They went to Cam Ward's pro day. They met with Kyle McCord and had a private workout with him. There's photos of Kellen Moore talking to Will Howard out of Ohio State, and Kellen Moore and Jackson Dart, they were at his pro day. They took him out to dinner. The Saints are doing an extensive amount of research on these upcoming quarterbacks in this draft class. Now, I did just do a whole video on that. I posted that on Friday, so if you want to go check out that video for more details on the quarterback draft situation, go for it. This one's primarily, though, about Derek Carr in the trade news. The Saints' actions tell us that they want to replace Derek Carr, draft their guy, find the next franchise QB, and eventually replace Derek Carr. But until then, he will be the starting quarterback. He is the stopgap, and he is the bridge quarterback. But maybe he'll end up being like Russell Wilson for the Broncos and be cut next season. Or be like Kirk Cousins and they draft somebody, and it's only a matter of time before they get benched for the young rookie. Let me know down in the comments if you think that the Saints should have traded Derek Carr away for, I don't know, let's say a 4th or 5th round pick. Let me know down in the comments. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good one. Peace.